and today we're gonna read Ivy and Bin's story starting at and this Ivy and Bin book's name is Bound to Be Bad Story, and the Anna reading at start reading at Bird Brain Story, and the Anna reading at the next chapter. Okay. Now are you ready for this one book with a lot of stories? Now here we go! And first we can read Ivy and Bin Bound to Be Bad, starting at Bird Brain chapters. And the end of reading at the next chapters. Ivy! Bin shouted into Ivy's mail slot. Yo-ho! Hello, Bin, said Ivy's mom, opening the front door. Care for silence of cucumber. She was holding a plate of them. Bin wanted to say, "Are you nuts?" but she knew that wasn't polite. "No, thank you," she said. "Is Ivy home?" "She's out in the yard," said Ivy's mom. "Go on back." Bin walked down to the path beside Ivy's house and opened the gate that led to the backyard. Ivy's yard didn't have a trampoline like Bin's, but it did have a big rocks and a perfectly round puddle that Ivy called a pond. Even though she had to fill it with the hose. And was standing still in the middle of a long, weedy grass. Her arms were raising into the sky. And she had a big smile on her face. "Are you trying to fly?" called Bin. Ivy turned to Bin and smiled even bigger. But she didn't move. "Hi," she whispered. "Wave your arms." Advised Bin. Ivy smiled so hard her eyeballs bulged out. "What the heck are you doing?" Bin asked. "I'm trying to be good," whispered Ivy. "What?" yelled Bin. She wagged through the weedy grass. "I'm trying to be good," Ivy whispered again. "Why do you have to be so quiet about it?" Now Bin was whispering too. "Because I don't want to scare the birds away. I'm trying to be so good that the birds land on my fingers and wolves come out of the woods and follow me down the street," Ivy explained. Bin stared. "Why would you being good to make birds land on your fingers and wolves do whatever you just said? I found out about it yesterday. If you're super good and pure of heart, animals think you are one of them and they love you and follow you around." Ivy's arms are trembling. She must have been holding them up for a while. "Are you sure about this?" asked Bin. "Positive. I saw it in the picture. There was this guy with birds flying all around him and as a wolf licking his food. Mom said this guy was so good that wild beasts talked to them and birds swarm after him." "I don't get it. Why did the birds swarm after him?" "Because his heart was so pure and kind that they saw that he was the same as an animal on the inside, and they love him," Ivy said. Bin thought about that. "Like Snow White, you mean? Hadn't the bird helped Snow White to make a pie?" Ivy made a face. "So Snow White wasn't good. She was Gumball. Everyone knows you're not supposed to eat stuff you get from strangers. But the birds like her," said Bin. "Maybe the birds felt sorry for her, but they didn't think she was one of them," said Ivy. Anyway, I don't want to be like Snow White. I don't want to be like the guy in the picture. I want a wolf to follow me because I am part of heart. A wolf. Ben pictured a straggly wolf walking beside her, and a wild bird rests on her shoulder. Her mom and dad will be scared half of death, but Ben would say, "The wolf won't hurt you. He's my friend." Then the wolf and Ben could give each other long, understanding looks. And then Ben's mom and dad could feel rotten because they hadn't realized that Ben was so part of heart. They had thought she was a plan, and Ben smiled at Ivy. "A wolf would be pretty cool." "Yeah," said Ivy, smiled dreamily. "We could share him," said Ben. Sure we could," said Ben. "That was what people do, and they share." "He doesn't even have to lick my foot," said Ben. "It's fine if he just follows me around." "I know," said Ivy. "Me too." She raised her arms again. "But I'm starting with birds. I think they'll be easier to get than a wolf. You know," she whispered, "they're not so smart." She looked up and smiled at the sky. "La la la," she sang sweetly. "I don't see any birds," said Ben, glancing up. "Me neither," said Ivy. "Maybe they're hiding in the trees." Ben watched for another moment. "I like birds too," she said in a loud voice. "Almost as much as wolves." She held her hands upward. "How do you do it?" "What?" "Be so good that the bird lands on you." You couldn't think about yourself. You have to think nice thoughts about another people," said Ivy. And Ben concentrated. She thought, "I love you, Mom. I love you, Dad, even though you're totally unfair." She thought of Nancy. "Oh, I guess I love you too, Nancy." Then she thought of Nancy saying 7 years old aren't allowed to go to horse camp. So, And isn't it past bedtime, Mom? Stupid Nancy. "I hope you fall on the horse." "Oops. Boy, this is harder than it looks," she said to Ivy. "I can think nice thoughts about my mom and dad, but that's it." "Oh, your mom and dad were too easy. You aren't good enough if you just think nice thoughts about your mom and dad. You have to think nice thoughts about mean people." "Holy moly, I can't even think nice thoughts about Nancy. She's my sister." "I'm thinking nice thoughts about Crummy Matt," Ivy announced it. "No way," said Ben. Crummy Matt was the meanest kid. Kid's dad, chocolate milk, was brown because he had poop in it. He was so mean that he kicked kickballs on the school roof on purpose so no one else could play with them. He was so mean he threw rockets at cats. "Ha ha," said Ivy proudly. "I am. There's nothing nice to think about, Crummy Matt," said Ben. "I'm thinking that I hope he stops being so crummy," said Ivy. "Hey, it's working!" A little brown bird was hopping near Ivy's pond. "Boing, boing, boing," Ivy heard her breath. "Here, birdie," squeaked Ben. The bird flew away. Ivy sighed. "Now I have to start all over again." "Sorry," said Ben. Ivy smiled at the hard way at Ben. "Now I'm thinking nice thoughts about you," she said. Ben didn't like the sound of that. Now a crummy plan. Now Ivy and Ben I think Ivy and Ben are making the crummy plan to get friendly to all of the animals, especially birds. But I think they can do it because they are great at it now, and especially Ivy. So I think they were gonna do it tomorrow. So we're gonna see it tomorrow, okay? Now, did you have an ELS English Country? We come back with some this book, but not this story because there might be a new chapter to read, or maybe tomorrow we get a new book and a new story. But I'm gonna read all of this story at this afternoon. When I read all of this story tomorrow, I'll be gonna tell you what happens to Ivy and Ben. Okay? Now, please download my YouTube and have a nice day. Bye bye, everybody.